Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about the lackluster showing we saw at Tfcon Los Angeles for the third-party panel. And I'm actually going to talk about the silver lining of this. There really wasn't anything new shown, or not much new shown, just updates on old projects. And the little bit of new stuff that we saw was probably not super exciting. But we're going to talk about all of this, and I'm going to explain why I think it's going on and the silver lining coming up. So first I'm going to start out by talking about what did we see. I mean, really, there's not much. So we got to see Fans Toys Gears, or their variator, and it's a pretty good looking figure. It's pretty exciting. Seems like all of their mini bots are turning out really nice, and the Bad Cube that has been the king for 7 or 8 years now, however long it's been, 2014, 2015, that thing has been the king. Now something else is going to come along and give it a run for his money, and so I think it looks good. I think it will be most people's Gears. It will be the Gears for most people till Takara makes theirs, or XTransbox. No, I'm just kidding. There's probably not going to be a Gears war, will there? But with it, it's still pretty nice. I think people are still just now getting their parkour, they're getting their cliff jumper, and I'm seeing sort of a slight mixed bag on that. Some people are super excited, some people are just a little let down, but for the most part, he's a nice looking figure overall. But I'll wait till I get my hands on it, till I say anything about it, really. We do get to see that there are still some interesting aspects to this figure. It's a mini bot, but of course you get to see some innards of it. I don't know if he's going to have his mood chip or anything, personality chip or anything like that to come with it. Probably not, like we saw with the Bad Cube. The alt mode looks fine, all of that good stuff, and not super toy or super tune, I don't think. But we also got to see the Diverge, and so there's always going to be a repaint, right? So they're going to do a repaint of these if it was an actual character, not if it was just one of those one-off repaints like Bumble Jumper kind of things. That's not, Fans Toys doesn't mess with all that. But he does look pretty good. Kind of interesting how they got the chrome thighs going on right there, and it's definitely a much different looking figure. I'm sure if we analyze it, we're going to see that the parts on this are much different. It's not exactly the same, because that's what Fans Toys has proven. They don't make them exactly the same. They do, I don't know, about 40% part difference, maybe 80% difference in parts. Very little shared parts, less than you would think. So anyway, nice looking figure overall, and alt mode is fine. Alt mode looks almost the same, which is another weird thing that we saw with Brawn and Outback, that those look almost the same in alt mode, but there's a lot of differences. So also get to see the Inquisitor, which is the sweep or Scourge, and with that, I think it looks nice. I do think it looks nice. I'm perfectly content with my XTransbox one, but I'm sure when I put these side by side, I'm going to understand why I like this one and why I've got this one pre-ordered. But, I mean, it looks fantastic, but I still look over and I go, yeah, but XTransbox looks good too. But this has that premium paint and more die-cast and all that kind of stuff, so it'll be interesting to see how they go head-to-head and toe-to-toe. And here's alt mode stuff going on. So, again, another solid release, what people have been wanting, but it's still a replacement item. And in all of these cases, there's another option for these out there that's not really too horrible, but Fans Toys wants to be the best of the best. And we've seen all this before, but now getting to see it in color renders, real pictures and stuff, really nice to see all that kind of stuff. And it's sort of exciting. I don't think you're going to have a 3-pack, a discounted 3-pack maybe? No 3-packs. You just have to buy 3 of them separately. And so what do we see from XTransbox? Well, just a confusing move. This makes no sense. Like, out of the blue, let's just start making Legends. I don't know if we're going to do Masterpiece anymore. Let's just do Legends. I don't get it. Now, are they trying to copy Zeta? I just reviewed the Zeta Superion, and it's not a perfect Superion, but it looks great in combined mode. I'm happy with it. So I'm wondering if that's going to be what this is like. Or is this one of those things where MMCs are looking like they're a much better option, but they're just too small than what they're doing in the Masterpiece? So let's see if we can do as good, if not better, than MMC and Legends. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with this. it'll be interesting to find out. It would be interesting to have more information about this. More stuff from MMC that we've already seen. So, I mean, we've seen this before. To me, I don't think it's really anything new. And then, now this is sort of new, but is it something that people are wanting? This Eris Armitron or Armadon? I don't know. I don't know if this is something people are clamoring for, or if it's something that's going to sit in stock, which, by the way, we're about to talk about. Will this sit in stock? And then this is something everybody's, well, I don't want to say everybody. A large number of collectors are excited for the Autobot cassettes, and especially in the larger scale, the bigger ones, because they just look good on a shelf. Are they too big for masterpiece scale? Yeah, they're a little bit too big. Do I care? No, I actually like the MMC ones the most, because they're bigger and they have a nice shelf presence to them, and it just feels nice. It feels right. But yeah, they are a little bit too big, but they look great. And I'm glad we're seeing some sort of update to this, but I still don't have the one from the last convention yet. Obviously, if you went to the convention, you got it, but I have mine pre-ordered. It's not in yet. And they're moving right along with their combiner. Their Defensor is coming along just fine. Looks pretty good. It's nice to see some updates and pictures to that. But it's no surprise. I mean, we've kind of seen some of this stuff. We've seen the renders for a long time. Now it's renders next to grayscale, so it's kind of like, well, this is the next step here. I don't know if it's moving along slower than the way Hasbro team does their G.I. Joe Classified reveals, but this is exactly what you'd expect, and I think they're coming along fine. This thing, I think they'll be done before XTransbox. I think this will be completed and done before XTransbox, especially since they've already done a combiner before. Sure, they learned from some of their mistakes. Now for the silver lining, they need to get caught up on these really old projects, Fans Toys and their Blitzwing, and I know how Fans Toys likes to operate. With that other company out there making a Blitzwing, they want to get theirs out so that they can be the best and on top. But it's been years. I mean, this is probably their longest production item aside from what they shelved with their acoustic wave. So this needs to come out. And maybe this is a sign that this is coming soon. It's a sign that they're putting more money and effort into this. And we will circle back around and talk about this after I do a little bit of an economic discussion about this. We'll circle back to this. But I have a feeling that they're working on this and trying to get this out. I hope. A feeling, a hope, a wish, and a prayer. Now, there's other Blitzwing options, so I don't care. No, I do care. But anyway, try to rhyme a little bit like Roadblock. So, getting into the combiners, this is a whole other story, and I've talked about it in the past, so I won't talk about it too long, but I'm still confused on why they can't seem to figure out how to make this work. Pre-orders for more went up on Show Z, which is usually an indication that they've got some sort of information from Fans Toys, as in closer to a ship date or anything. But they didn't tell me anything about it, but that's usually an indication once they put more pre-orders up. So, looking at this, do they know how they're going to combine? Is that something they figured out? Did they get rid of the designers because they didn't know how to combine? Did the designers that left have something to do with this? I mean, I don't really know. There's a lot of questions. But we need to get this finished up. And the fact that they're not revealing a whole bunch of new projects tells me that they're not going to monopolize their time with a bunch of new projects. It also could be economic too. But a lot of new projects, they can work on this and get this done. Catch up time. When it comes to XTransbox, they've made a lot of promises too, and they need to catch up too. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. We're so used to these panels having 3, 5, 8 new reveals, get all excited. Oh, there's all this new stuff is coming. And what about the 80 to 100 items XTransbox has promised? Now, XTransbox has promised us that because for every figure they have 4 to 6 recolors of the same figure. So 20 figures looks like 100. That's just the way it is with XTransbox. But where are all of these promises? Well, they need to start getting caught up on these past promises. And I do believe the economy has a lot to do with it. Now, I actually didn't mean to take this picture the way I took the screenshot, but it does kind of put it in perspective, all the Fans Toy stuff. The top half is more or less stuff that's either in stock or on pre-order, and the bottom half is sold out. So that's Show Z. But going over to TF Source, there is so much stuff in stock that's not selling, that's going on sale, that's going on clearance, and I'm going to try to move through these slides. I had to take like 8 slides to get it all. But just Fans Toys product. It used to be that you'd click on Fans Toys at TFSource or anywhere, and there might be 1 or 2 items and everything else is sold out. But now you've got like a massive catalog of stuff that's in stock, and most of it's on sale, which we could talk about that. The price gets increased higher than it should have been, and then it's on sale down to pretty much normal price or still above a little. It's some tricky math. It's funny math. It's called new math. But, and nothing against TFSource at all. I actually love TFSource for a lot of things, and especially getting these pictures of all the figures that are in stock and all that kind of stuff. And I did just buy something from TFSource not too long ago. So, but still, looking at all of this, so much stuff in stock. Like, why is there so much stuff in stock? And then we get into some XTransbox stuff too, that are in stock and on sale. And so that starts to make you wonder, why would they put out all these reveals for a whole bunch of new figures when the stuff is still in stock? The current and past items aren't selling. That's a big point. So I'm going to quickly move through some economic facts that we're all going through and we're seeing. But first thing I want to say is that I've seen collectors, YouTubers, and Facebook sellers, people on Facebook, collectors everywhere. A record number of people having to move out of the blue. And if you don't have a house to live in, then really collecting toys is kind of not even your second priority. Your number one priority is house and getting a place to live before you get back into collecting, all that kind of stuff. So that's taking people out of collecting for a while. The reason for this is a lot of people are renting and those houses sell. And the reason that those houses sell is because, as you can see that spike there, we have seen in all of these areas, the top of the market, we're going back down in the housing market. And here's why. Okay, inflation is part of it, but truthfully, I could talk for probably 6 straight hours about inflation, but I want to talk about 2 things. Inflation shouldn't exist. It should not. It is a symptom of a sick economy, and it's a symptom of a bad economic system. It is, if we had sound money and we had a healthy economy, we would have almost zero inflation. And the only reason prices would go up is due to supply or demand, because those are the laws. Inflation is basically artificial, and artificial inflation can get out of hand very fast. Second thing I want to say is that this number at 6% is nothing. It doesn't include energy increase, food increase, reality setting in here. But will we see inflation like we did in the 80s? Well, guess what? They don't look at inflation the same as they did in the 80s. But let's move on. So interest rates going up, and there's, of course, a lot of reasons, but the number one reason is to stem off inflation. That's the tool that they have, and if they raise it too much, then they'll be spending literally every dollar brought in for taxes just to pay the interest on the debt. I mean, get that? That's a whole different topic. But interest rates going up that's a cause of the housing market to go down, because people look at their payment and all that kind of stuff. So interest rates going up is causing a housing issue, and people were selling off the houses at the top of the market. Remember that. Interest rates going up caused 2 banks to fail. Well, yes and no, but for the most part, it was a big contributor to 2 banks failing this past week, and that was Silicon Valley Bank in California, Signature Bank in New York. And of course, this isn't going to be the end of it, but these are abnormal circumstances. These banks are pretty much not the banks that I bank at or you bank at, but could affect those banks and other people. By the way, FDIC insurance of $250. I hope that continues throughout all this, which leads to continued record layoffs. And all this is literally the tip of the iceberg of economic issues, economic conditions that are going on right now. And I guarantee you, manufacturers of toys that are not necessities are looking at this and saying, we are not going to invest in new molds right now. So getting back to the silver lining, I really do think they are going to be working on their old projects, getting their old stuff out. They already have made promises. They want to maintain those commitments, and I think that's a good thing. I think that it's a good thing that we're not seeing a ton of reveals. We're not inundated with a ton of reveals. With all the things that are going on right now, let's just get these out. There's a lot of things that I'm excited for, we're all excited for, but it sort of gets old waiting. Like they revealed these things a year or 2 years ago and then they're still not here yet. Let's get those old ones out and then get caught up and then reveal something with a little bit shorter timeline in the future, hopefully. But anyhow you slice it, a lackluster showing is not a bad thing when we already have over 100 figures coming. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Tydearmaker out.